Oh, yeah, that sounds good. I didn't realize how big that was.
I know, yeah. This is my aunt, no, lives in France, cousin. Yeah. And I wrote it in French, and later, and told her I'd been around Indians in France.
It's kind of wild. Good team.
Pascal and Mary, we saw them last summer.
Probably be here any minute.
That's what they always say.
That's for the people who don't.
What? Somebody's been out of the sun. I cleaned out the chicken coop. That's exactly what it was. That's what's so crazy that you would say that. That's so good. Okay.
Do you want to handle that?
Oui, ça me fait rendre mon fait ça. Ok.
Do you want to kick us off with prayer?
Oui, absolument. Tu parles du français avec moi, donc personne n'a. Mais c'est super. Ainsi soit-il. We're gonna make this all our prayers will be in French. Merci beaucoup. Man, it was so awesome you pulled it off. That's it though. That's why. We'll talk about it later, but as we're passing this out, this sort of a little theology about relics and about indulgences for you to take a look at when I'm speaking in French, just to let you know that there's only really one thing you need to ever know how to say in French, and that's if you're all together, s'il vous plaît, together. I think you got it. I think that's awesome. My experience is that I've been doing pilgrimages in and out of France and French countryside in particular since 1978, and all I know is that you're an ugly American if you don't say s'il vous plaît. If you say s'il vous plaît, they will bow and scrape and move anything to help you. So again, I just am so wearied by people that somehow think that, you know, come on, follow their rules. Their rules, they made up the rules, that's their own country, whatever, we read. Okay, so s'il vous plaît, and then lots of merci, does lots and lots of great stuff. So anyway, that being said, as a precursor for, if we could have that image. that we had so often before. Let's pray together. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Heavenly Father, thank you for pilgrimages and the powerful way that you just talk to our hearts in so many moving ways. We've seen pilgrimages since the very beginning of creation, or the very beginning of Christianity. We're going to ask that you will so bless and give glorious experiences to these young men and women who are coming on this adult pilgrimage. A great blessing prayer as we offer, especially we're going to give Our Lady such praise as she is the one beautifully venerated throughout all of France. Hail Mary.
Full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen.
Full blessing on all those who gather, Father, Son, Holy Spirit.
So the handouts, if we ran short, we'll be emailing them out, and also for anybody who's not here. So anything we're handing out today, we'll be emailing as well. But I want to start off just with some introductions. I think everybody knows Father Ray. Father Larry Swain couldn't be here tonight, but he'll be joining on the pilgrimage. He'll actually be in France when we arrive, and will meet us at the airport when we show up. And then we have Leonard Wathen, which many of you know. Leonard, he's over at St. Aloysius and runs their religious ed program, and youth, adults, OCIA, pretty much everything over there. So Father Ray and Father Larry and Leonard will be the points of contact on the pilgrimage, but there will also be a full-time guide and driver with us the entire time. And the guide will be native French speaking. You'll get to know probably him or her extremely well by the end of the pilgrimage. And it's always nice last dinner as we say goodbye to them. But there'll be a number of people that you'll be able to go to if you need anything at all. So before we kick off tonight, just out of curiosity, raise your hand if this is your first pilgrimage, if you've never made a pilgrimage before. Okay. Which is exciting. I think I made my first one maybe 11 years ago.
Yep.
And the impact it had on me, and it just almost added a third dimension to the faith, to be able to meet these saints and to walk the streets that they walked in and see these churches and the rich history of the Catholic Church. So for me, and I know for Father as well, it's just super exciting for those making their first one, almost to watch you make a pilgrimage and to kind of live vicariously through that, because you can only do it, for the first time once, and it's so impactful. So raise your hand if you've made more than 3. So few. So for most people, it's the first or second one. And if you make 3 or more, this is probably going to be kind of repetitive, but we'll go through everything as if you've never made a pilgrimage. And that way, hopefully we cover everything. And if you've made one before, maybe it just kind of hits something that you hadn't thought of before. It's a reminder of something that maybe you need to do in the next 30 days. So we'll kind of go through the whole pilgrimage. And at the end, we'll have time for questions and answers. Father and I kind of just talk as we go through it. We'll kind of go through the itinerary, and then we'll go through everything from packing and what you need to do between now and when we leave, and then how to have an amazing pilgrimage without any regrets or bad experiences. Right. Okay. I don't know if you want. Will this affect anything? Okay. All right, so we're about a month away from starting. So this is going to be an important theme throughout this whole presentation, as well as the pilgrimages. Passport, passport, passport. Super important. And you'll see a slide coming up. We did have to leave a pilgrim behind a few years back because he lost his passport while we were in Italy. But yeah, the most important thing is going to be your passport. You can always get money, you can always get new clothes, but you lose your passport and you're gonna have an extended stay. Or worse, if you forget before we even leave, you may not go with us. Okay, so take a copy of your passport and keep a printed copy with you. Take a photocopy on your phone or a picture on your phone, and then have somebody, your emergency contact here at home, just have them have a copy of it, email it to them, just in case you do lose it, that you can go to the embassy and get everything squared away. Father's big on this. Know in advance where you're going to hold your passport on your body. So you want it in your body. You don't want to leave it in your suitcase, under the bus. You want it with you at all times. And if you go onto Amazon, there's all kinds of passport holders. The most common one is just one that you wear around your neck, under your shirt, and that way it's always there and you can just tap it. We'll be doing passport checks whenever we get on the bus after leaving a hotel. Before we actually depart, we'll just Leonard go up and down, just check everybody's passport, physically seeing it. Same as when we're on the bus leaving to go up to the airport, but we'll have passport checks on a regular basis, because we've had times, 2 occasions where we got off the plane and a pilgrim had left their passport on the plane. One time it fell out of their back pocket in the seat. Another time it was in a bag up top and they pulled out their bag and the passport got stuck behind. And that, you can imagine the nightmare there as you go through security and now you can't get back to the plane and the passport you think is on the plane. So we'll just do a lot of passport checks, but between now and then you can just order something, have a plan of where you're going to carry your passport on you. Also a good place to keep your money, your credit card, and your other valuables. So this is self-explanatory.
It is?
Yeah.
I didn't get it
If you lose your passport, Rich cuts off your arm.
Yeah, it's,
Here, get your points.
pretty much that. It's more important than your arm, yeah.
Oh!
Yeah, that's right. So on the level of what's important, passport, a lot of passport pictures here. Okay, then we get into our flight itinerary. Very fortunate with our flights, they're non-stop and the timing is perfect. To be able to get in the morning, like at 7:45, and have the full day ahead of you is great. And almost any pilgrim will say, like, the best thing you would do when you arrive is just to hit the ground running. You're gonna crash hard that night, get a really good night's sleep. Within 2 nights, you'll catch up on your sleep. But we arrive and we jump on a bus and we go to Lisieux and it's a full day. So hopefully you can sleep on the plane. And then even departing, it's a beautiful flight, leaving at 11 a.m. Usually we're leaving the hotel like at 3 or 4 in the morning, trying to get an international flight, bag breakfast. And to be able to fly out at 11 and get back here at 2:20 is a really nice flight. So the flight's on United. By the end of this week or sometime early next week, we'll have, so right now the travel agent is purchasing the tickets. They still have like a week or 2 to do so. As soon as they have them purchased, I'll forward all that information to you. I know there's some pilgrims who've asked and maybe they, you want to upgrade or seat select. So once we have that information, we'll forward it along to you. Okay. Safe flights. Go to confession before we leave. Father always, he's big. You can always catch him in the airport too for a last minute confession. And we had 2 priests, so that's great. And while I'm thinking of it, because it's not in the slideshow, the bus, it's a big pilgrimage. This is great to have 47 total pilgrims. There'll be a few extra seats on the bus, but we ask that we leave the seats that are next to Father Ray and Father Swink empty. And that way you can pop in and say hi to them, as opposed to like somebody sitting there the whole time and then it's hard to get time with them. So one of the greatest blessings of a pilgrimage like this is to have 11 days uninterrupted with priests like Father Ray and Father Swink. Because both are so busy, it's very rare to have, lengthy time with them. So to have that kind of time is beautiful. To be able to just pop in and talk to them for half an hour, on the bus, it's just a beautiful gift. So we'll just ask, keep those 2 seats empty so people can just, while we're on the bus, because we're going to spend a lot of time on the bus, can just join them and have a short conversation or ask any questions. So this is the route of the pilgrimage. It's just over 2,000 miles in total. So hopefully you like buses. The time on the bus, especially when you're with Father Ray and Father Swink, I've made a couple pilgrimages with them, it is very fruitful and a lot of fun. And it's unlike most bus trips. And it is broken up for the most part. There's a couple long days, but in general, you're probably on the bus for 3 hours a day. All right, this needs to be said.
Stop, that's me, shut up.
Yeah, this is it's not Father Ray, but it's Father Ray just, he talks about this. It's and it's super important. This has been an issue on pilgrimages in the past. Hydrate before you leave. It'll make your first few days so much more enjoyable and less painful. So, okay, day 1. So we'll leave on Monday, October 6th. We'll start with the Pilgrim's Mass here at St. John's at 11 a.m. Feel free to invite family and friends. Beautiful Mass to send you off. We'll leave it right after the Mass. We'll have a Keller bus out front. We'll load up the baggage and everything and get on the road. And hopefully arriving in Dallas around 1:30. And it does provide, between 4.5 and 5 hours at the airport. But there's a reason for it, and it's just because there's usually going to be a problem. And we've had issues in the past, all of a sudden we're half hour up the road and somebody realizes they don't have their passport or they forgot something or there's a flat tire in the bus, so one thing or another. So we just provide extra time just for unexpected occurrences. And then 6:25 p.m. we are in the air. Passport. And day 2, so we'll arrive at 7:45 in the morning. When we arrive, Father Swink and 3 other pilgrims who are going early will meet us at the airport, and our guide for the entire trip will be there waiting for us as we come through customs. We'll get all our bags, we'll meet them, jump on the bus, and then we're gonna head straight to Lisieux. So we arrive in Paris, but there'll be no time spent in Paris. And for a few reasons. One is just like it's hard to pack everything that we could into this. And typically, I think this falls between a typical adult pilgrimage and the aggressive youth ones that we've run in the past. We're not doing as much as we do with the youth, which we try to just exhaust them so that they fall asleep at night. But it's also definitely more aggressive than a typical adult pilgrimage. But there just wasn't time to do a day in Paris. And I will say, just from feedback on past pilgrimages, Paris has always been the low light of the entire pilgrimage, across the board. It's also, more dangerous. If you're going to get pickpocketed or something stolen, it's going to be in Paris. And yeah, it's just the least prayerful on top of it. So you'll have time to go to Paris, in the future. But we're going to get out of Paris as quickly as possible and head up to Lisieux. And then we'll have the day there to visit her parents, the Basilica, and to have Mass. Jump in there.
No, I'll just jump in to say, you're gonna love Therese, and I just, but especially, I think the kids of any group of kids, when they all lay their hands on the ossuaries, which is the box that has the bones of her parents, and every teenager is praying, thinking about parents. So many of them fighting back tears. There was such an overwhelming sense of honoring and venerating the relics of Therese's parents. So you'll see that with the Martin family. So I think you're going to feel really at home, especially when we go to her little house there in Buisson. By the way, no one will pronounce it correctly, but that's okay. But I'm not going to be a French snob at all. But it's Lee and not Le, and not Zoo. Yeux.
It's not hard at all.
These yeux.
It's very hard for me.
It's really, really hard. Okay, but anyway, so if you mess it up, welcome to my magical kingdom. So anyway, so these yeux is really a great word to learn, and Therese will smile at you if you pronounce it, even like le zoo.
Do you want to talk about saints choosing, them?
Yeah, just one of the things that we do kind of a theology about saints, one of them is that even the smallest relic, the whole saint is present. That's why I always try to ask teens to think about like a hologram of Therese or Louis and Zélie Martin straight in front of you as you're praying, and you're going to sense a relics. Just like with Catholicism, we always say the smallest part of a host, it's the whole Jesus, body, blood, soul, and divinity. When we have a little tiny speck even of a particular saint, you're going to get a sense pretty quickly. The whole saint is here and is attentive to us. So we'll do a theology of saints as we're on the bus. And I know Father Swink so well. By the way, I had dinner with him last night. He's so healthy. But he'll be the first to just say, Ray, get out, I've got the microphone now. So he's got this type H, back, high energy, and so excited about this. But anyway, I think you're going to experience something, the beauty of this gal, who's chosen so many of you. With teenagers will say, and they already have it, they say, I don't know, I wasn't thinking of this saint, but my confirmation saint, I chose this one because I felt a tug on my heart. So I think you might feel a tug on your heart when we go past, especially her relics, major relics tomb.
Yes, and we've seen that on every pilgrimage, just young people going in with a preconceived notion of the saints they really want to see, but it's usually an obscure saint or a saint they weren't expected, just really touch their heart, and you can see it just as it happens. And speaking of Father Swink, like I can already tell you, Father Ray and Father Swink will both be on the right-hand side of the bus. Father Swink will be in the front, and Father Ray will be about 2/3 of the way back.
Okay.
And Father Swink will be in the front, so he has access to the microphone. He'll be on the microphone a lot. All right, so that's day 2. After Mass and the visit there, then we'll check into the hotel. grab a dinner probably at the hotel. And then the next day, we break out early to visit the cemetery in Normandy, which it is moving, and there'll be a guide who'll kind of explain things and kind of walk us through it. Has anybody been to the cemetery before? Good number of you. Okay. Wow. Yeah, very moving. And then from there, we'll head over to Mont Saint Michel, which for me has been just a very powerful visit. One of the most beautiful places on the planet. It took over 700 years to build. We'll arrive in the late afternoon, and there'll be time to just walk over there. The hotel is probably about a 25-minute walk, and you'll see a lot of sheep, and it's through the countryside. So you can that evening you can walk over and walk through Mont Saint Michel, come back, and the next day we'll have a tour where you go all the way to the top, and then there'll be time for lunch afterwards before we depart later in the day, and we'll have mass Thursday, and I think also maybe the next day at Mont Saint Michel.
Okay. So just to jump in for a second, for example, I went with a group of guys, I'm thinking of Kyle Vance, who discerned it was priesthood as a St. John's teenager, but he discerned priesthood walking to Mont Saint Michel with me on the way back. And we went on by midnight, and matter of fact, I remember Forte being right there at one side. Dope! Anyway, and he discerned his vocation right there as well. It's marriage. But anyway, but all I know is that midnight we went to a little tiny chapel, the Saint Michel Chapel, and at midnight I walk in, there's a French priest there who does prison ministry chaplain work and prayed over all of us and was able to share with me in French about what's the #1 drug problem right now in Paris. And you never know what you're going to find in Mont Saint Michel. Real good experience.
The next day, like I said, we'll start off with Mont Saint Michel with the tour, and then lunch, and then after that we'll head over. Actually, that was the next day. So the day before we head down and we stay over where St. Louis de Montfort is. We wake up in the morning, and then we have mass, and we visit Louis de Montfort, and then we get in the bus, and then it's the long drive down to Lourdes. So we'll grab lunch on the way, and then arrive at Lourdes Friday evening, somewhere around 6 p.m., check in the hotel, have dinner, and then you have time in that evening to go and visit, to walk around Lourdes. That'll probably be mostly free time, because the next day we have the entire day in Lourdes. Okay, so just the whole day, so there'll be daily mass, there'll be a tour, there'll be the candlelight procession in the evening, but then there'll also be time for you to hit the baths, to walk around. This will be one of the key places to do your shopping, and Father will talk about that a little more later, because you'll have that free time, and there's just so many places to go shopping if you want to buy gifts or souvenirs to bring home. But there's multiple churches, so you'll spend the whole day. There's so many things to see, and then the next morning we wake up early. Oh, passports. Okay, so the next morning is a long day, a lot of traveling. It looks like, so we had to change the schedule around because they're having a big festival for St. Faith. This is a Sunday, and they're having her feast day, a big festival throughout, is it Conques? So we weren't able to do a mass there, so we'll probably do an early Sunday mass in Lourdes before we depart and head to Toulouse to see Thomas Aquinas. Thomas Aquinas is interesting, probably one of the most, I think, one of the saints I think many people will be most excited to visit, but he's not in a church. And the Eucharist isn't there, which is just like so ironic, like it's Thomas Aquinas and he's not in church, there's no Eucharist, it's just his body. So we'll spend some time, we'll venerate him, pray, and then get on the road. It sounds like the hotel will probably pack us lunches so we can eat on the bus, so we can get to
Conques, yeah.
for the end of the festival. So because we'll visit St. Faith, and then there's still another 2.5 hour drive to the hotel for the evening, where we will spend the night, have dinner before we head off the next day to Nevers, so we can see St. Bernadette. We'll start the morning with probably a 2.5 hour drive, and then we'll spend the day with her.
Well, let me jump in right here. Anyway, not nevers, never.
Never.
Together.
They're laughing a lot.
Come on, work with me. Never. Moving to super. Anyway, but here's the part I love. So I was talking to the French dude who's working, and he's actually works her body and assists with oftentimes changing the robes or the clothing on her. And he said, by the way, she's like petrifiée. There's no makeup on this woman's face. Her hands and her face are unchanged over all this time. There's a little bit of makeup they put on the side of her face that you can't see. It's the side because they were lighting so many candles when they pulled her out of the ground, and she never. But he said, unlike every other person you'd ever see in Catholicism, never, you're going to see her face, and you'll see her hands, and you'll know that there's no makeup, no touching up, and that she's petrifiée like a stone. That's how smooth and intact her body is. Anyway, she's like a BFF forever. Okay. There you go.
Okay, and then at the end of the day, we'll drive. We'll take the bus over to. Go ahead.
Pareil le Montréal. That's so easy to say. Anyway, no, okay. Pareil le Montréal.
We'll wake up in the morning and we'll visit Margaret Mary Alacoque, and then we will get on the bus, drive to Ars for St. John Vianney, and then we will finish the day with a drive up into the mountains to probably one of our favorite stops,
Sweet.
La Louvet.
La Louvet.
La Louvet, which is a town of about 400. It's I think it'll be a favorite for many people. The first time we went, it happened to be the only place where the bus driver and the guide had never been on the pilgrimage, and they both said they were coming back to it. Just a really beautiful, sleepy town up in the mountains with a beautiful basilica, and I don't think they get that many pilgrims. So we're blessed to have an entire day there, and part of the day will probably be, it might be if it's a morning mass, we'll probably spend the morning with a retreat, Father Ray and Father Swink leading maybe a half-day retreat, which will give you the other half of the day. Just to, the nice thing with this, which we've never done before, there's hotels in the town, and we have, that's where our reservations are. So the hotel's like 60 seconds from the Basilica. So you have the rest of the day just to go back and forth between the hotel and the Basilica. Personally, my favorite gift shop, souvenir shop in all of Europe is here. And it's just a little shop that has a little of everything, antiques, but they have one section that is all Catholic, and they have these bureaus that you just open the drawers and they're just filled with like antique crucifixes, and really affordable, like 12 euros, 10 euros. Unlike when you're in Lourdes or other places, you'll see the same thing basically in every shop. When you go here, you're going to find stuff that you won't find anywhere else, and with really, really great prices. So we're gonna
Love us.
Maybe
They
they
go
say
all the time.
we do. We spend so much, and every time we're there, we're always like, we have to get on the bus, we have to leave. So it's so nice that you're not going to have to deal with that. We'll call, and they said next time we visit, like they'll open just for our pilgrims to make sure, because last time they were closed, and they opened up for us. So they said next visit, make sure they know in advance, and they'll open. But it is an absolutely beautiful and probably one of the most prayerful towns that we'll visit. So you have an entire day there, dinner that evening, and then waking up early in the morning. Okay, so this is actually a real picture of this pilgrim calling his father to tell him he lost his passport. He wouldn't be coming home with us.
Don't! I remember that. I still have nightmares about
Yeah, I do too. I took the picture. So the next day is we'll drive up to Annecy.
Annecy, really, they slang it.
Okay.
So, Annecy.
One of the most beautiful towns that we'll visit.
It's called the Venice of the North.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous. We'll visit St. Francis de Sales and St. Jane de Chantal. And then there'll be some time there where we'll have dinner and have some time downtown as well. But that'll be kind of a slower day. Then we wake up the next morning, head to Geneva, which is only, I think, 30 minutes away or an hour away. And then take a late morning flight home, getting home 2:20, and then back to St. John's just in time to catch the mass traffic. All right, so that's kind of the itinerary. So just from here on, it's just a lot of FYIs. this is important. It's as an individual pilgrim, it's your job to stay with the group. The group can't stay with you, so just making sure that you're with the group, mostly through the airport. That's probably the most stressful time. A lot easier since there's not a connecting flight. Connecting flights, that's where all the stress comes from. We don't have a connecting flight, so that makes it so much easier. But we just try to stay together throughout. The weather, beautiful time to visit. Daytime temps in the 60s. It could hit the 70s. In the evenings, you're talking lows of 45 to 55. And there's going to be rain, so just know there will be rain while we're there. So we'll talk about that a little more with the packing. But just a great weather to be walking around, so you're not getting too hot and you're not too cold. In advance, so next 30 days, just thinking ahead, just with your credit cards and your phones, prep them for travel, international travel. And then some people have asked how much to take and what you'll be spending. Get your euros in advance. A lot of times pilgrims will say, well, once I hit the ground in the airport, I can get an ATM and get some money out. But the problem is, like, moving as a group, all of a sudden we lose people that way because you're standing in line at the ATM's down there and you went to an ATM and we went somewhere else. So getting the euros in advance, and I think what we'll do is we'll probably set up like a Facebook page for the pilgrims where you can share recommendations on where to get them banks that get them. I know I use PNC and they've been great to work with to get euros in advance, some credit unions. But sharing ideas on how to get your euros in advance, I think the next slide touches on it. Get them in small denominations. Make sure you request that when you put in you get your euros from the bank. Otherwise, they're going to give you 50s and 100s. And a lot of small merchants are going to say no. How would they say it?
Mais non, absolument pas.
Yeah.
Like the meme ticked off at you for not being smart Americans, which is, I want the smallest euro denomination you've got, is what you say. And they'll give me a big stack of €5. So I always hang my passport and all my euros around my chest. And it's the only time it looks like I have a chest. It's really fun. I'm like, yeah, all right, guys. Anyway, so it's really, really fun to get lots and lots. I always get 500 euros, and I'm always short about as much as the tip for the driver and the tour guide.
Yeah.
So I'm always a little bit short, awkward, because I'm buying for lots of people at St. John's too, so awkward.
Yeah.
But 500 euro for me.
Yeah.
Are you going to suggest an amount and collect it for the tips, or? is
Yeah,
it
so
individual?
I'll email that out, and they have a suggested amount per day for the driver as well as for the guide. And
Want
I'll
it in
email
cash
that.
in envelopes, yeah.
Yeah, and preferably in euros.
All unmarked bills,
Yeah, all marked bills.
unmarked euros.
So as far as what to spend, like breakfast and dinner is included. You'll be on your own for lunch, so what you'll need to bring is just enough money for lunch and maybe some snacks for the bus, and then any spending money for souvenirs or gifts. What we suggest with the tips for the guide and the driver is that you put them into an envelope in advance, mark it, and then pack them aside so that just, they're there at the end of the trip when you need them. And then also mass offertories, we always forget that we're having daily masses, and the churches will usually pass around a basket for the offertory. So just having, and that's where it's nice to have the fives or have small bills where you can drop into the offertory on a daily basis.
Richard,
Yes.
what is a per day tip?
It depends, and they'll let us know. So I'll email it out. It usually comes out to be somewhere between like 100 and 150 euros in total.
Oh,
So, but I'll email that out in the next week or two. If you're not checking emails, just check them on a regular basis. I'll probably be emailing once or twice a week between now and the pilgrimage. Smaller denominations. Between euros and MasterCard or Visa, you're totally covered. If you have something other than Visa or MasterCard, it's hit or miss. So if you have American Express, some places won't accept American Express or Discover. But if you have Visa, MasterCard, or euros, you're going to be able to buy anything you want, anywhere you want. And also, if you have a debit card, they'll work at any ATM, just like they do here, and they'll just spit out euros for you. Super easy. There'll be a few places. Lourdes is nice because it's halfway kind of through the pilgrimage, and you're going to have that full day. So if you want to stock up on euros there, you're going to have access to ATMs in Lourdes. But definitely call your bank in advance to let them know so they don't shut you down. Gratuities, I'll be emailing that. We just said about the bus driver and the guide. Pickpockets, we eliminated a lot of the risk just by not being in Paris, but it's just something to always be, thoughtful about. They're there. They'll be at some of the, especially the key places, whether it's Lourdes, or a few other places, but
Lisieux, yeah.
yeah, so just knowing where your valuables are and that they're not easily accessible to a pickpocket. And also, nothing is free. It just happens on every pilgrimage. People come up to you, they're going to offer you something for free. It's not free. So whether it's a scarf or whether it's a little trinket or whether it's a little, cross or something that they made, they want money for it. So if you take it, they're going to hassle you until you give them something. So just nothing is free. Okay, now we can get into packing. How to prepare. Okay, so getting an adapter that'll work in France for your phone. Primarily, that's probably one of the few things that you'll need to actually charge up over your laptop or computer. Don't bring a hair dryer. Yeah, it's gonna blow. We've done, not me.
Yeah, the entire hotel.
Yeah, we did empty out the hotel one night. Hair dryer. So yeah, don't. What? Amazon. Yeah. Yeah, and that's something with the Facebook page we can, give you recommendations. But if you just go on and just check for an adapter that works in France, you'll get recommendations for it.
Do they have hair dryers in the hotel?
What's that?
Do they have hair dryers in the hotel?
Some do, some do, some don't. So, yeah, you might be kind of air drying. Okay, so as far as laundry, that's come up as a question. Just plan on not being able to do laundry. Mostly because we're not going to be at a place long enough, except for Lourdes. And last thing you want to do is waste a lot of time, dropping off laundry and picking up laundry and making sure it's done. Doing laundry in the sink, Father will tell you, horrible idea. You're going to be taking damp laundry with you. Never dries out in time.
Never tries out.
Yeah.
Let's bring a hair dryer.
Yeah, there you go. So the best advice is to bring a clean set of undergarments for every day of the pilgrimage. And then you don't need a lot else, like a couple pair of pants, couple of sweaters. You wear the same things over and over. Nobody's gonna make fun of you. And then packing in layers. What's that?
Are jeans okay?
Jeans are okay, yeah.
Even for mass?
Yeah, even for mass. So,
And tennis shoes, okay?
yep,
For walking?
yeah. Highly recommend. But thinking of packing in layers, because it might be when you leave the hotel in the morning, it might be 45 degrees, but then it might be 70, by lunchtime. So just something where you can just take off a sweatshirt or a sweater, have a lightweight jacket. The bus will be comfortable. You're not going to be outside that much, except for a few places like maybe Lourdes. But yeah, kind of if you start packing now, at least mentally, then you won't overpack. Usually overpacking is a result of procrastination. So if you kind of start in advance, then you pack less, which means there's less that you have to haul, because you're going to be taking the bags off of the bus every day almost and then putting them back on. All right. 2 to 3 pairs of comfortable shoes, just in case one gets wet. If it does rain, then you have a dry pair. And you can switch them up. Make sure that they're broken in, they're not new. Otherwise, you're going to get blisters. And it's all about comfort, not about fashion. So, comfortable shoes.
How many miles a day do you think we'll be walking?
It won't be a lot. Lourdes, again, will be the most. And then the airports. Those will be the 3 days where there'll be a lot of walking. The other days, most of the time I'll be on the bus, and the bus is going to pull right up in front of a church. You're going to jump off. You're going to go in the church. You might walk around a little bit for lunch, but if you monitor your steps, you're going to have a hard time hitting your steps. So you might walk a few miles a day.
So it's not more than 7 miles a day?
No.
Okay.
No, I mean, 7 will be the most, and that might be like airport days or Lourdes.
Did you already say no shorts for mass?
I think that's the next slide.
Oh, okay.
Or it's the one after this. So luggage. You're permitted a check bag, a carry-on, and a personal item. And I think anybody who flies is pretty standard. So your check bag, 50 pounds, and then it's 62 linear inches, so you just add up your length times, which is basically anything that's sold commercially. Your carry-on, think of it just a backpack. And then a personal item would be a purse, maybe a small laptop bag, something smaller. And we'll kind of get into a little more about how to pack and what to put in those bags. Okay, churches and dress codes. A lot of the churches will have signs that tell you like what you can wear and what you can't wear. We're not worried about you. It's more of a thing maybe when we travel with young people, especially if it's in the summer. But this time of year and adults, yeah. Most churches you can wear shorts in, so that's kind of an exception. There are some churches where, you know, for women, they ask that your shoulders be covered. If not, they have shawls that they'll loan you. But if you're wearing any type of pants, jeans, and just even a short sleeve shirt, everything you're wearing now, it is perfectly fine to get into the churches. All right. Rain, this is one of our trips to the cemetery in Normandy. It was red raincoats were popular. But raincoats are a lot easier than umbrellas. You can bring a small umbrella and just take it, but a raincoat is going to come in a lot handier because when you're heading into a church, just leaving your umbrella behind or getting a bag for it, and especially if everybody's there hitting each other with your umbrellas, a raincoat just makes life a lot easier. But it's nice to have a cheap disposable $5 umbrella, with you just in case.
Are there any restrictions on bringing your backpack to church or a backpack?
No.
Because I'm not a backpack person.
Yep,
so-
no, there's no problem bringing your backpacks into the church.
Okay.
Father loves to talk about journaling on the pilgrimage. Go ahead.
Well, just, I've been on so many pilgrimages where they say, now bring your Bible. Oh my, I love the Word of God, but really? Did you think that was a good idea? So anyway, a prayer journal that's a smaller one, and I want to capture notes so I can go back and say, this is what I experienced when I was thinking of Saint-Laurent-sur-Sèvre, and I was right there, and I had this thought, I want to be able to jot it down. But I have a little motion sickness, so I can't jot a lot on the bus. So I just know that I have very little time for journaling, so it's got to be kind of smallish. So I'm a big believer in jotting down something there, because otherwise you're going, it's all just a blur, I don't remember. And I think this really helps a lot with journaling. I found there's not a lot of time for reading, maybe because I'm speaking as a priest with so many people and then doing confessions and kind of spiritual direction. So I don't have time for spiritual reading books. Like I remember once I brought the full writings of Louis de Montfort in French. I'm like, no, it didn't happen. But thank you, Louis de Montfort, for letting me drag that around like a fool for 10 days. So anyway, so keeping it really light as far as what's a light and manageable thing you're going to be able to do. I don't think many people are doing a lot of reading on these buses. What was your sense?
Yeah, totally true. On the buses, there's a lot of napping going on. There's a great conversation. So the buses are just a nice place to get to know each other. Father Ray, Father Swink will often, either lead a rosary or give a talk about whatever saint or site we're going to see next. So the bus ride actually goes fairly quickly, and you just rarely have time to open a book and to read.
And so often the other two things we do always, we're trying to, especially Swink and myself, we're trying to discern, they're tired, just let them sleep now. And you just say, let them all know. Or let's wake them up now, get them ready for Saint-Laurent-sur-Sèvre, and be able to sort of have a talk about it. Or, hey, everyone's waking up now, wakey wakey, some of our, they learn American expressions. Wakey wakey is one of my favorites. It's not all that. But anyway, but it's like, coming up to the front and saying, hey, this is what moved me at Saint-Laurent-sur-Sèvre. I really found myself deeply moved by Louise de Trichet and the powerful way that she had an impact on Louis de Montfort. And so there's some real faith sharing as well. And always, we're doing almost always the whole divine office. So you can talk about that, or it comes up later?
Yeah.
Okay, very good, excellent.
And we'll be handing out the, on the bus on the way to the airport, we'll hand out little booklets to everybody that will have the entire pilgrimage kind of laid out. It might be like 80 pages with the whole itinerary for every day, the saints and the sites we're going to visit, as well as a nice write-up that Leonard's working on for each of those saints and sites. So you can really prepare before we arrive with what we're about to see. But it's a nice way, in addition to the journal, of organizing your thoughts and your experiences, Because it's true, after the first pilgrimage or second one, you come home and you just remember all these things, but it's all so jumbled. And you're trying to like, and even your pictures, like, I can't remember what church that was. So,
Ooh, pictures, do you have a slide on that?
no, but
Oh, I'll jump in. I cannot tell you, I've done 17 pilgrimages in my life, and I still look at them and go, why did I not take pictures of any human being? I'm so, I mean, all I want to do is see all these cool friends with the church in the background, and instead, I miss the important part, which is the people with whom I share these encounters with the saints. So just think in terms of taking a picture of some gray-looking church and you know, a year from now you go, I have no idea, and that really has no impact on my life at all, but why did I take that picture? Why didn't I put, you know, Sue Franklin, who I just met on the trip, why didn't I put her face in front of it? So anyway, so it's a big, big push to say the church is so alive in each other, and to get pictures of that is real important.
And what'll be really nice, one thing that Leonard will be doing is running a blog throughout the pilgrimage, and this is a way for your family and friends to travel vicariously with you, but it's a great way to evangelize and really just invite maybe the people, co-workers who know that you're going, and just give them the address and just tell them follow along. So we'll be posting on a daily basis, but also taking a lot of photos, which relieves the pressure on you. So if you don't get photos, that's okay, because Leonard's going to have like 1,000 photos posted on a blog, you know, with every day and organized. So, yeah, he's doing all the work for you. Yeah,
Is it an easy blog to access for people? Because I
very easy. It's
Okay.
Blogspot, or I don't know if who you're using.
We'll find something.
It'll be
Okay.
easy. Yeah,
Thank you, you're reading my brain.
but
Mercy.
with the pictures, one other thing with the pictures that I think we've kind of picked up on the past is whenever we go into church, you know, I've found it nice to just take a picture of the sign as you're walking in, and there'll be, you know, maybe the hours or something, but then you know, like, everything that follows is that church, because otherwise without that I always forget, like, what church is this? Is this the first one we visited or the second one? But I'll just take a picture of that and then other pictures of the church, and it kind of helps me organize my photos. All right, so how to pack. Those are your 3 bags. So the one on the right is kind of thinking, like, what do you want to carry for the day? And some might just carry the backpack, the one in the middle. The one on the left is what's going to be sitting under the bus. So you're going to be loading that under the bus every day, and you won't have access to it till the next until you arrive at the next hotel. So having maybe the backpack or a small drawstring one on the bus for you, and you might have both, one for the bus and the other for when you're actually walking around outside. And the one on the right, that's just lightweight, where you don't want to carry a lot of weight. And maybe it's a small bottle of water. It might be a rosary,
Meds.
meds, your booklet. We'll also be handing out, in addition to the booklet for the pilgrimage and the sights and the saints, there'll be a booklet for a hymnal, basically, a small hymnal. We'll also be providing you with a PDF copy of both of those. So if you want to carry them around, you can just load the PDF up on your phone, and that way when you're at Mass, you can just pull up the songs, everything you need of the prayers on your phone. But the small drawstring, that way you're just not carrying a lot of weight around, but everything you need is in the backpack sitting on the bus. The bus driver will be with it, so everything's secured, so you don't have to worry. If you're at a site for 4 hours, you know, the bus will be secured. You can leave whatever you want on the bus, but knowing that you won't see the suitcase until that evening at the hotel. Any other thoughts on that?
No, it's great. I always overdo it because Father Swink and I will have our white albs and cinctures and amices. So we're always going this, and I'm like, oh, I'm so envious. So only I could do this. So anyway, do this. Don't do this. Right? Okay. But I always like, you know, I don't know, ask for water, whatever I would need. And I feel so stupid when I'm like, oh, I left it here, or oh, I put it down there. So just thinking in the morning is great.
Less important because we have a direct flight and we don't have a connection. But I think still it can happen. On the last pilgrimage, the airline lost my bag, large suitcase. But I always pack in the backpack just maybe like 3 days worth of just undergarments, a spare T-shirt or something, in case that happens. And unfortunately, I had that, so it wasn't a big headache. I didn't need the suitcase. Everything that I needed to get through 3 days, I had it with me. So even though we don't have a connecting flight, it's still possible for an airline to misplace your bag. So having something in your backpack just in case for the airline portion on the way over.
Yeah.
I think it's always just wise. And this is pretty standard anytime that you fly, just how to separate your liquids. And then anything that, maybe makeup or different things. We did have one pilgrim, she almost missed her connection in London because she had so much makeup in her carry-on that she got pulled from security, and the line was so long and slow that, fortunately, I was able to get a hold of a manager who was able to bump her to the front of the line, and we made the connection, but she would have missed it if that guy hadn't, done her that favor. So anything that falls under this that you can pack into your checked luggage for the airplane, just makes life easier going through security. I know, kind of funny. We have had this issue. We had some pilgrims buy a sword. That we made them give it to the bus driver as a gift. They couldn't get on the road with it.
At Mont Saint Michel, right?
Yeah.
Sit away. So there's nothing like, I thought I'd bring this home. Ah, it's a full sword.
Yeah. We had two pilgrims actually get pulled over because they had mace. So yeah, there's no need for weapons. You got Father Ray with you.
Yep.
Kind of an emergency situation packing would be just your medications if you have any. If it's prescription, make sure it's in the original packing. If you have the prescription with you, makes it easier. Over-the-counter meds like Tylenol, car sickness, emergency. Put a copy of your passport, and then your yours and credit cards, and then anything else can be replaced. You can pick up clothing or whatever else. But
Good. So there've been just recently some travel movements that just people feel sick. So yeah, what's that called? Dramamine. Dramamine sounds like a win-win.
Okay. So that, and if you don't have your check bag, because like I said, every day we leave a hotel, we're gonna do a passport check on the bus. So just having that with you so that you can pull it out and Leonard can do a visual of your passport. The other thing that we'll do on the bus, at the very beginning, is everybody will be assigned a number 1 through 47. And it's how we do head counts to make sure that we have everybody. And there's always one person who's like, last year was number 13, number 13. Who just never is paying attention and never, and you're like 13, 13, 13, 13, and they're like, oh, here. But otherwise we go and we just count off, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, and all of a sudden, and the faster we do it, the faster we get on the road, but it's a way to make sure that, it's very effective, making sure we're not leaving people behind. Hotels, so they will have towels, washcloths, clean bedding, and soap. Feel free to bring your own shampoo or soap if you want. I pack it in the checked, baggage if you want, and just remember 3-1-1 rule. Anybody recognize that hotel? Yeah.
You're so bad.
All right. When you leave the hotel, just checking your passport, knowing that there's going to be a passport check on the bus. Wi-Fi. The hotels will all have Wi-Fi. Once in a while, it's slow or it's difficult. Usually it's pretty decent at this day and age. You might have to go to the lobby if you want to be on it for a really fast connection. The bus may have a hotspot. There's going to be pilgrims, I'm sure, who will have hotspots that if there's an emergency, you need to access their hotspot, that'll be fine too. I'm sure they'll be good about sharing that. But for the most part, we just get on at the hotel when we arrive at the end of the day. And then you have a chance to email or check emails and say hi to everybody. So in the morning, multiple alarms, and it's really good to make friends who are in another room and just have some sort of agreement where you're checking on each other in the morning. The worst thing is to wake up and you miss breakfast. And it's like, oh, I'm really hungry and it's 6 hours until lunch. With young people, that happens a lot. They trade, breakfast for sleep and then they regret it. But yeah, just having people like check on each other's room, when you wake up, so that we make sure everybody's awake, and all of a sudden everybody's not on the bus. Number 23 and 24 aren't there because they're still asleep in the room, and then they have 5 minutes to throw everything together and to get ready. Okay, so toilets. Yeah. So never pass on an open loo, especially if it's free, and more so if it's clean. There's a tiny emergency restroom on the bus. Plan on never using it. Okay. It really is for emergencies, and it's right by the steps. And if you're tall, like you're gonna have a hard time making your way in there. And so it's very tiny, and they will discourage you from using because they don't want to clean it. There'll be restrooms at the auto grills and roadside stops, But Father always says, like, before you leave in the morning, it's just like with your kids, it's like, did you go to the bathroom? You know, eat breakfast, go to the bathroom, get on the bus.
Right.
But, and the bus, probably every 2 to 3 hours will stop. But, yeah, just so that, because the worst thing is you have to go to the bathroom and it's like, hey, I have to go, and they're like, yeah, there's nothing ahead for the next 45 minutes.
And I'll jump in there too, okay? I'm the king of this, again, 17 years of, 17 pilgrimages, sometimes twice a year. Same thing always, as soon as they announce breakfast will be open at
6:30.
6:30, I'm right there at 6:30, because I want to stuff as much as I can, drink as much as I can, and then use the nice clean facilities by running back up to my room again and using the bathroom, because I know, one of the worst things, especially with teens, is this. Wow, I eat breakfast really quickly, don't worry, and I'll get on the bus. And then 15 minutes later, hi, I have to, like, it's emergency, I have to go to the bathroom. And I'm like, dude, we're only 15 minutes out. What's going on? We just left Lisieux 15 minutes ago. I know, I didn't follow Father Ray's rules. So anyway, so eat lots of food as soon as they open breakfast.
It's fresh and you get the most, and yeah.
And
So.
eat lots of beverages, drink lots of, be hydrated, so drink lots of stuff, and then leave that behind. Okay, this is like a big issue for me, okay.
Most of the churches and the sites will have restrooms. Most of those will be free. There will be some that will charge. And if they do charge, it's usually a euro. So just making sure you have, coins. In the beginning, after the first day or two, you'll probably have some coins, but just saving those for basically for either water on the bus or for restrooms that charge. But most will be free.
So is bottled water preferred?
Yeah, there's actually a whole slide on water.
Thank
It's super important. Okay, and like Father was saying, breakfast, the most important meal of the day, because you're going to be running for the next, 5 or 6 hours. And having that food in you is going to be important. Just give you that energy. Last thing you want to do is see somebody faint because they didn't eat or drink breakfast and now they're going hard and they're exhausted and then they faint. So just have a nice breakfast, and what you will realize is the food is very clean and you're going to feel good after eating. And
Amen.
most of the breakfast is going to be cold cuts, cheese, and some meats and yogurts and some hard-boiled eggs and a lot of bread. Really good, and some great juice too. So and fruits. So very nice breakfast. You'll come back missing the breakfast. Passports, auto grill.
Out to see them.
And ordering at the auto grill. So the guide will kind of walk you through it. It's a little different than ordering here because usually you get the food first, or you go and you order the food, then you get a ticket, or you get the ticket first, I guess. I never
You're
remember.
getting the food and then you're paying at the end. And an auto grill is always, you have to order and pay and then you get the food. And I know it's just, it's not American.
They'll tell us. It's confusing, but anyway,
And it changes from one auto grill to the other.
you'll probably get like 3 of them over the pilgrimage, and you'll never forget the auto grill. But they have nice restrooms.
But they're really super clean bathrooms, and I find, for the most part, they're very pleasant. Just remember, s'il vous plaît and merci.
And good snacks to take on the bus, and the bus is a place of sharing snacks, so you buy some nice snacks and then share with other people. And passport again, super important. Okay, so spiritual preparation, Father. Don't tell that.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna try to make this as quick as possible. Just take what I gave you, take it home with you, and there's 2 things that I think are important. One of them is that this is called a year of hope as a pilgrimage year, and because it's the year of 2025, the church is encouraging and supporting something that we rarely hear about in Catholicism, which is getting plenary or partial indulgences. So you see, one of my handouts is all about plenary indulgences. Plenary, just the fancy word for full, so a full indulgence, and plenaries I'm not so worried about, but it gives you the 5 or 6 pointers about how to get a particular pilgrimage. We'll be hearing ahead of time the easiest form of a plenary indulgence is you're following the other 5 aspects and you're walking through a door. So I already know, for example, in Lisieux, there's a big door, the big portal there, and just walking through, I'm like, I love Catholicism, getting a plenary indulgence now. So anyway, so it feels really kind of good. when you sort of get that, but then you realize it's not as easy a win as you think, because you've got 5 other aspects that you're really looking at. You're staying in a state of grace, or you're in a state of grace, so there's no breaking of any commandments, so there's nothing that's gravely disordered. You've gone to confessions 20 days before or 20 days after the indulgence event, which is something that John Paul II gave us. It used to be 8 days before or after. He switched out to 20. And then communion on that particular day. Doing the indulgence act itself. As I said, the easiest is going to be going through some of the doors, and we'll announce and we'll point out where those doors are. The hardest one is like, and the only one that we can really do easily, is a half hour of reading the Bible. That's why I just love when you're doing something that reading from your app in particular, you're doing the equivalent of reading a full half hour of scripture. You get your plenary indulgence covered, and you do one every day. You do it first for yourself, and then you do it for loved ones who've already passed to the other side. You don't do it for Aunt Louise, who's just cranky and in the nursing home right now. She's not dead. So anyway, so we're just doing it for ourselves first, and then for loved ones who've already passed to the other side. Or if you're not thinking about it, you just say, Blessed Virgin, I give you the intentions. Whoever you want especially, use this intention for. But I've grown to really love it, and our youth program has really encouraged, and it's fun to see kids getting serious about plenary and partial indulgences. So I think I've got the 5 points. You're in a state of grace. You're doing an indulgence act. You went to confession. You went to communion that day. Confession can cover a multiple number of days of doing plenary indulgences. You're doing one for yourself, and then the others are all for someone else. And the last thing, is there not an addiction or attraction, it's
Attachment?
attachment is the word. All my A words all run together. An attachment to venial sin. A lot of people give up and say, well, of course I'm attached to venial sins. Well, since when is being attached to a sin something good? So anyway, so the church wisely discourages any of that by saying, no, a plenary indulgence is for someone who says, I'm still attracted or addicted, but I'm not attached. I want to get rid of this. So it's only those who say, I like my personal venial sins and I'm not letting go of them. They're the only ones who are like, it's not working. But anyway, but that's the other A word that we love. So people that are struggling with addictions, we get that. The church gets that. People that are struggling with, I'm so, attracted to that venial sin. But instead, we're especially handling what we call those who are, another word jumped out of my head again, attached. Okay, attached is the word, where we're like, no, I'm not attached to sin. I don't want sin. So anyway, so it'll be something we'll talk through, and you're going to hear our Father Swing talk about it and myself to give that clarity. But I think what I've written out and had to rewrite twice is legit. The other part of spirituality, and I love this so much, and I feel sorry that so many bishops even don't seem to get it. What's that all about? Is this whole thing I mentioned at the beginning about when you're before even a small relic, and we won't have a chance for venerating relics, we'll be in front of full body relics of tombs of saints, that I love for people to really reawaken to the Eastern Orthodox way of looking at it. The smallest chip, it's the full saint there. And again, what helps me in my imagination, ever fertile imagination, is just to imagine the fullness of a saint like a hologram right in front of me. And I find myself very conscious of the ones who choose me to be their friend, so you'll get a sense of their patronage and a little bit of what a patron saint's all about. Sort of reading more about how they really are real friends, and they really move us very powerfully. And you will find some that will speak to you and others will not. And at dinner time, when you're seated at tables and hopefully able to mix it up at different tables at evenings, you'll be able to say, hey, think fast. Did any saint especially move your heart or seem to tug on your heartstrings? And those conversations are always phenomenal. And it's so much fun to know that even little teenagers can say, I came for St. Francis of Assisi because that's my patron saint, and I got nothing out of that. But St. Clare, I just touched the glass, and I just started bawling like a baby. I think there's something going on there. Just to have those conversations about saints is why we kind of do this pilgrimage work in particular. Are we talking about the baths yet?
Good time to talk
Next
about it.
screen. So just to let you know that as you well know, during COVID, I was so horrified. I've been plunged under the bathwaters twice, and it feels like you're plunged into the mystery of the Blessed Virgin Mary. But what happened because of COVID, no, you are allowed to wash your face and your hands. Thank you. Okay, so anyway, so what I'm so thrilled about is a good friend of ours, Father Danny Morrison. He just came back last year and said, they opened the baths again. So it's so exciting. So obviously, guys and gals, one side and the other, and we're hoping nothing's gotten in the way. And then what they do is they get even clergy off. But anyway, you get into a little room with 5 other guys on the guy's side, 5 gals on the girl's side, and you get down to your undergarments, as awkward as that sounds. And then very privately, you pass behind these drapes, and there, for the guy's side, are 2 of the toughest looking French men you'd ever want to see. You don't want to see them in an alley. Yeah. Anyway, and I heard the women's side is just the same. They're tough French women right there too. And they simply will give you a little statue of the Blessed Virgin Mary to kiss. They'll give you a drink of fresh spring water, and they'll even bow their heads and shield their faces as you disrobe and put on a little chamois cloth for women and for guys. And you're like, well, that's kind of cold. At which point, they're hooking you under your arms and plunging you in the water to your chest. And you're like, ah, and then you come out of it, and it just is extraordinary. So it's one of the finest experiences of all of France. Many people are looking for healings, and this is the place where they look for healings, but I want to let you know that statistically, and I was there for one woman who was dramatically 100% physically healed. She's a school teacher in Arlington, Virginia to this day. I was there when she said, I've just been totally healed. And she went through the whole process, so she's like number 96 or something of the fully recognized miraculous healing. So we're looking for healings. We're going to always keep that openness, but the vast majority of healings in Lourdes happen with the Eucharistic procession. The Blessed Sacrament passes by and people go, I just was healed. Because that's what Our Lady asked for in Lourdes. She asked for processions with the Eucharist. She didn't say, come and have a chamois cloth around your, and just get plunged into waters. So it just really lots of hope for people who are coming on this and hoping for some kind of a healing physically, emotionally, psychologically, whatever, spiritually. It can really happen at Lourdes. I've been there. I've seen miracles from, I think, my 4th trip to Lourdes. I saw a miracle happen, and it was fully approved by the church. So anyway, that's it. And I agree. So you're going to download this puppy. It's going to be easy. You're going to talk about it.
Yeah, so everybody, we'll just ask you to download iBreviary so you can pray Liturgy of the Hours. We'll probably pray morning prayer every morning after we get on the bus. And there may be daytime prayer later in the day as well. But this way you have it, and you can download a week in advance. So before you leave, you'll download the next week, and then halfway through at the hotel, you just download the next week, and you'll be able to pray Liturgy of the Hours. And it might be one half of the bus and the other half of the bus, or it might be men and women. But Father Ray or Father Larry will lead definitely morning prayer every day.
So, Richard, is we all gonna be one bus, is not?
Yes, we're all on one bus together. Preparation in advance. You want to talk about just preparing by getting to know the saints and the sites, or spending a little time?
Right, we used to, the old days, we would divvy them up, and we'd force you to without any warning, you might have to give a little mini report.
Yeah.
I don't think we're doing that now. But I would just love for people just to go through the list and just saying, gosh, what am I drawn to, and just getting a sense from this list. So they have this in front of them?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
And we're missing somebody. I can't remember who, but there's a less well-known saint at one of the sites.
Okay.
It'd be a bonus.
No, not like that. Okay. Yeah, I can have the bulk of it. I'll figure it out. Anyway. Oh, I know who it is. Ready?
Okay.
Saint Claude la Colombière.
Mm.
Saint Claude is the Jesuit who was so moved when everyone else said to Margaret Mary Alacoque, you're out of your mind. There's no way Jesus is appearing to you with his heart exposed in this Sacred Heart devotion that we know so well. And finally, she switched spiritual directors, and this young dude from Avignon, who he's one who called me. His name is Claude la Colombière. he started evangelizing and just saying, this is legitimate, this woman's right, the Sacred Heart is right. And so his body's there in Pareil de Montgal, and I think you'll really enjoy praying there, for those who like Jesuits. Thank you.
And there's not a slide for this, but just a word on flexibility. It's good to be just flexible, because something's gonna happen, there's gonna be some sort of disappointment. It happens with every pilgrimage. The last pilgrimage, it was a phone call at 8 in the morning, we were flying out, Mass was at 11, a similar schedule, but at 8 a.m., I got a call like, hey, the airline just canceled all your flights. And we had a connection in Frankfurt, so it was scrambling, trying to get everything rebooked, and we had to rebook half the pilgrims on another flight and half on a third flight. And then when we got to Frankfurt, there was a 1 hour, and if you've been to Frankfurt, the airport, it's worse than Dulles. If you're a world-class athlete, you cannot make it in 1 hour from one end to the other end. And then you throw in customs and security, and it's not gonna happen. So we missed our flight, and then we had to rebook, and with the time difference, nobody here was open yet. So we ended up missing, like half of us missed the first day of the pilgrimage, as we ended up getting in. Yeah, the first 4 saints, which were in Turin, and we just went straight to Milan. So that was one. Luggage loss is another. One time in Milan, I guess last time, they're like, oh, the tour guide is like, the St. Ambrose, they're not opening his basilica until 11. And we're like, how did you not know that? But there's going to be some. So it's just understanding that, and just the flexibility of just kind of rolling with it. And when something happens, just know, okay, well, we'll leave it in God's hands.
Just offer it up.
Offering it up.
That's the worst part. I'm in Frankfurt, on the floor, fighting back tears, and teenagers are like, come on, Father Ray, we're having a fun time here in Frankfurt. Offer it up. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, so Father Ray and our guide and bus driver all speak French. And as Father Ray said, everybody you encounter at the shops, at the auto grills, they all speak basic English. So if you know just some basic greetings, like Father said, you're going to do fine. And they'll appreciate the efforts, even if you speak it like I do. They're going to appreciate it. So putting a few things to memory before you leave will be helpful. Passports, super important. Okay, now we come to the water. So staying hydrated while we're traveling is important. Again, so you don't faint. You're going to feel a lot better. The buses will have water they sell for €1, cold water at the front. You just go up to the guide and you say, hey, can I have a water? And she'll just give it, and you give her €1. A lot of times what we've done in the past is you just keep your bottle and you put it in your backpack, and then you fill it the next morning at the hotel, and then you have your water for the day, or you get a second one on the bus. But what you don't want to bring are the, Father calls them the depth charge bombs, the metal water containers that get dropped in a church and you can hear them a mile away. And then they crack the porcelain in the process. So one, you can bring a plastic one if you want. Bring something that you're not afraid of losing, because you're probably going to lose it at some point, misplace it. So just a really cheap plastic one, or just getting the €1 ones and just refilling them or buying them new as you want. Yeah.
I drink a lot of water. Can I have Camelback and fill it at the hotel?
Yeah, that's a great way to do it. So yeah. Yes. Yeah, so you can fill it right from the sink at the hotels.
So it's okay to drink the water, even though we may not be acclimated to it?
Yes. Yeah, we've never had anybody get sick on the water. Security checks, more so in Italy. I don't know if we've run into any at Lourdes before. It could happen that we go to visit a church and there's going to be a metal detector that you might have to go through. But you've already been through it at the airport. And then you're allowed to take your backpacks into the churches. They might just do a quick look at them. But just knowing it could happen, probably won't happen. Okay, where to purchase your souvenirs and gifts. Like we said, a lot of the places that you go to, the gift shops, they're selling the exact same thing from one shop to the next, from one town to the next town. You're seeing it. Lourdes, you're going to have the time, and you're going to have free time to walk around, and there's so many places. So that's a great place.
Really late at night, they're still open.
Wow.
You'll still, like 10 o'clock at night, they still have the stores open.
And this way, up until then, you can just focus on the pilgrimage and not worrying about the gifts. And then the other place would be in La Louvet. Yes, another great place to get them. And then at the very last dinner, everybody just brings everything they bought, the gifts, your souvenirs, down to dinner with you. You just put them on a big table, and then Father will bless everything at the end of the dinner. So then everything you bring back has already been blessed.
Do they take credit cards at La Louvet and
Yes.
Lord's?
Yes.
So that you don't
Yeah.
have to walk around with a bunch of euros to bring back
Yes.
to them?
So I think every place takes Visa and MasterCard.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So you
good.
have that. One thing that is nice and probably buying in advance would be rosaries, especially that you might want to touch to the tombs of the saints, so they become relics. If somebody had asked for a gift or you want to bring a gift, to bring back a gift that actually is a relic and has touched the tombs of several saints, such a beautiful gift, and such a more beautiful gift than just a rosary that you just bought. So that just takes a little bit of preparation, and maybe buying the rosaries in advance off of Amazon, taking them with you, and then having a little bag of them that you can just press up against the tombs, so they become third-class relics.
Amen. Do it all the time. So again, this is just touched. I lost count. I think something like 50 or 60 different saints' bones or their ossuaries. So it's a wonderful gift, and it's really, really very powerfully effective when I'm praying with people, also in my line of work. So it's just really been a grace to create a third-class relic, and I find most people get that very quickly. I notice it at St. John's. If I put out a reliquary and people venerate, they immediately kiss and then place their rosary and touching it like that. So what a great gift to think of, having a bag in advance and just say, these were touched to the relics of Louis Martin and Zélie Martin, because I know that you are parents, and those we treasure those. So that's really cool. Thanks.
Timeliness,
I hate
super important.
Is Father Ray gonna speak on this?
Stop it. Stop it in the name of Jesus.
So everything is tightly scheduled. It's key to be on time. Just when we're leaving the hotel. And at the end of every day, whether it's as we get off the bus or at dinner, the guides will give you the schedule for the next day. When breakfast starts, when we have to be on the bus, when we have to be wheels up. So you'll know in advance, and helping each other out with that. And then also leaving the churches on time.
Oh, this is so cool.
This happens. There's always one person. And everybody's on the bus waiting. It's like, where's so-and-so? Number 13. And it's like, oh, they're still in the church praying. And it's like, but we have to go. We're going to miss the next stop. So there have been times where we had to, eliminate a saint because we got behind schedule. So just staying on schedule is just important. And this makes it easier is it's a knock. You want to give 3 knocks?
Yeah, I want to do this. So we heard that religious sisters did this. In fact, the old days, to get devout nuns to move, you just simply went like this. And everyone at the same time gets up, genuflect, and they go.
It's really beautiful, and it's so much nicer than hey, keep so sorry. And everybody knows it, and it's so cool. All of a sudden, you see our whole group just get up and leave, and everybody's looking around, wondering what's happening. Like, what just happened? But just listening for that, grabbing somebody who may not have heard it, and then we all just hit the bus together. But it also means, you hit a church, and if you have to go to the bathroom, go to the bathroom at the beginning of the visit and not at the end. So probably more of a teenager thing. It's like knock, 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 and then everybody's heading to the bus, and it's like, oh, I have to go to the bathroom. And it's like, you just had a whole hour. And then you lose 15 minutes waiting for somebody to go to the bus or to the bathroom. So I believe that's the last one. Okay, so any other advice before we hit Q&A?
No, what did he say about packing? About always. So again, I love having passport here. Sometimes I go to bed with my passport on. I don't trust even putting it somewhere in a suitcase. I'm just loving passport and all my euros and small bills right here all the time. And I have a security about it that some people don't have. When you see them going, I can't remember, I put it in this bag, but then I switched it and put it in this bag, so I thought it would be more safe, and I put it in this bag. Just this just seems so smart as item number 1. So what I would do is to make people feel as secure as possible, and one of them is rain gear, because you're gonna feel so silly when you're like, hi, I'm getting really wet. Anyway, so just like, no, get that very cheap a red slicker, whatever that raincoat was. Number one. Number two, get euros here in the United States, small currency. I've never seen anyone say, darn, I wish I'd waited till I was in the airport to be able to change.
No, you don't want to do it in the airport.
Yeah, so anyway, so just item number two is it just doesn't seem smart to not use this time to get that, and we're gonna have the names of the best banks that will do
Yeah,
that.
we'll share that. And just knowing, like, the bus, it'll probably be on the cooler side than the warmer side, so if you're somebody who gets cold easily, it's a lot easier to put on a sweater, than, you know, everybody else sweating. So just make sure on the bus that if you are that person who gets cold, that you have a sweater, you have something you can throw on in case the bus is a little chilly. Because otherwise it gets really warm and then people tend to get motion sick and problems with that. We will be, I'll be emailing out the slideshow in case you want to run through it. We'll also email out a link. Leonard will be posting everything to YouTube. In case somebody wasn't here, you want to kind of watch it again for whatever reason. But we'll pass that out. But again, over the next 4 weeks, I'll be emailing probably once or twice a week with all kinds of little things that hopefully will make it helpful, as well as a link to that Facebook page so that you can share. And we'll just encourage, just share ideas. And then part of the booklet that we'll be handing out, I think everybody sent in their photos, and there'll be a few pages of your photos and your names. So it'll help you get to know each other. One thing that Father's big on is dinners and getting to know each other and not splitting up. You want to talk about that?
It's so hard, especially when I have married couples here in great number too. I'm like, or you come with your good buddies and you want to cling, and I was saddened with a recent adult pilgrimage, and I don't remember which one. How awkward is that? Whether it was Greece or Rome. But I was like, darn, I never got to meet so-and-so because they were hanging tight with their good buddies and or spouses and sisters or brothers that were also there. So as much as I was so joyful, I was also saddened that I'm more obnoxious with teenagers. I'm like, no, split you guys up now. Anyway, and people really thought that was a good thing. So I'd love for people to say, hey, let's, as a married couple, or let's as two girlfriends together, let's go to this table. I don't know these people. And there's something so enlivening about doing something. And again, I won't get all cheesy and teenagery about what was your thorn, what was your rose, what's the bud for tomorrow. But we all know that from working teen ministry a little bit. So, but we want to get serious about saying, hey, seriously, highlight today, what would be your highlight? What was the part that just really got you down? And then what's exciting you about tomorrow when you look at the itinerary? And to be able to have those kind of conversations help us to jump into a deeper kind of love for each other as brothers and sisters on this pilgrimage. So I think that's it.
I'm looking forward to the trip. I've never been to France, so don't look for expertise there, but I'll be helping to keep everyone safe.
All right, and we have some time if anybody has any questions.
Will we be sitting together on the plane, our group?
Usually it happens like we're in a general area, there's gonna be other people around, there might be, you know, a group here and a group over here and a group there. So it is random seating, but we tend to be in the same general area.
Do we have to get our seats?
No, the seats will be randomly assigned. We'll send out all the information. You're probably gonna be able to upgrade, you know, whether you wanna select a seat and pay a little extra to choose your seat, or if you wanna upgrade to business class. So once the tickets have been purchased, we'll send that to you, and that's something that you wanna do. You're free to do that. Otherwise, you'll be randomly assigned seats.
That's pretty alphabetic though. I'm always like, Swing, why are you next to me? Oh, Schmidt, Swing. Okay, that's it. So that's why oftentimes it is really alphabetical that I'll see that.
Yes.
I have two questions. How you assign the roommates? I'm a single,
Oh.
I don't have it.
Gabriella, you two wanna meet each other? So we do have some. I'll email it out. There are some of you who'll be rooming, so I'll make sure I email and introduce you by email in the next couple of days.
Second question
yes.
is, do we have any way community groups like a Waze or Telegram or something while we're in there, we communicate each other? Do we have something like that?
Oh, what's that?
Wait, what's
WhatsApp,
that?
yeah, WhatsApp, Telegram.
Everybody does WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's a good question. Something we'll talk about and we'll figure out beforehand. So whether it's WhatsApp or whether it's something else.
Telegram, I did the Telegram last time.
Telegram.
It was, you know, talking each other and some ideas and be sharing that, you know,
Okay, no, that's a great idea. We'll talk about that and we'll come up with an answer and send that out to everybody.
Okay, good.
Okay.
On another large group trip that I took, we were given like a little pin or something so that we could recognize each other. Will our group have something like that?
No, we've just found that like, 3 days in, only half the people are still wearing them. So yeah, no, and that's where it comes down to just staying with the group and, usually the guide will have like a flag or something and it's very identifiable who the leader of the group is. Yeah. Actually, if somebody wants to take a flag, they can post it on top of their extender, so it's personal. But that way everybody knows and they just stay close to the flag.
Are we getting tours with the buds and all that?
I'm sure in a couple places they will, and they'll pass those out.
They call whispers.
Yeah, whispers. So.
My husband's
We could all get parades.
It'll probably be by midweek. I think they're planning on purchase. We forwarded everything over to the travel agent, and I think she's purchasing this week. So hopefully by the weekend or early next week. Yeah. Yes.
Could you just take a second and talk about the exchange rate between how do you compare a dollar to a euro?
Oh, it's $1 is 1.16 euros. But
Yeah.
if you exchange at the bank, it's more than that.
So if you go online, it'll change every day, but it sounds like it's, $1 is the same as, 1.16? So we're losing a little bit of money in the transfer. And that's where, depending on where you get it online or your banks, they have different exchange rates. And that's something that hopefully with the Facebook, we can share that information. The banks that have the best exchange rates, just go into your local bank or credit union and having them
Most of the credit
exchange.
unions don't.
Don't, okay.
It's only like American.
Well, that's a little more complicated. What I was thinking, if I go into a souvenir shop and I say,
Oh, okay.
oh, I would love to buy that, and then you buy and you think, whoa, and then you think, this is what it actually costs.
Figure it's a little bit more than
Not
a
that
dollar.
much, yeah. It's-
Maybe 15 to 20 cents per dollar. So if you just tack that on,
Okay.
so something that's $100, maybe you're paying 115.
And if
For
you
100
use
euros.
your debit card, it should be right away.
Okay.
And you'll see how much it was. If it was 20 euros, it might be $23 that you pay.
Yeah. Yes.
For the singles, are they gonna be in a room by themselves, or is it gonna be roomed with somebody else?
So the ones who have single occupancy, the single supplements will have a room to yourself, and then others who said that they would room and just paid the flat rate without paying the extra supplement, will have a roommate, and those are the ones I'll be emailing this week and introducing you. All right, any other questions? Excellent. Feel free to email if you have any questions over the next month, but again, I'll be emailing you on a regular basis if you just stay on top of that, yeah.
So you said they're booking the seats, but are we putting all the information in ourselves?
No, they have all the information already. I've sent that to them. They've purchased basically it's group fare, so they've purchased the seats and the tickets in a group fare. Yeah. So there might be some limitations as to what you can do and how you can upgrade, but we'll get that to you in the next week. Yeah.
One last thing is, battery packs to recharge your cell phone or something, is allowed on the
battery
appointment,
pack,
okay
yeah.
with that, right?
Yeah, I think
It's
that,
not in check then.
yeah.
Right, you can carry it on, yeah, well, you carry it on, right?
Yeah.
That's what it makes it.
How about cameras? Just a small camera or you bring?
Yeah, you can definitely bring a small camera with your carry-on.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. Very nice to meet everybody, and we'll be praying for you. We can all start praying for the pilgrimage in advance. It's gonna come fast. So, thank you for coming out tonight. We'll get everything posted online, and we'll start emailing you.
Thank you.
All right.
Amen.
Thank you.
Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, you poured gifts on your beloved while they slumber. Help everyone to crash tonight, Lord, and really so refreshed tomorrow morning and more deliberate and intentional about this pilgrimage and the real graces that we're aching for from our hearts. With full blessing right now, we pray, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Voilà, tout le monde. Au revoir.